What's good, everybody? What's up, man? This is Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back for the final interview of the Where Are They Now series, man. And I can't wait. This is probably one of my creative inspirations, if I'm being honest. Also a fraternity brother, so I'll let him introduce himself, and then we'll just get right into the interview. So go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. One, thank you for having me again, and I'm just happy to be here and just kind of share my journey. My name is TJ Terrance Purdy, aka Ronan Knows, Ronan, whatever. And yeah, man, like I just do it, just go crazy.
That's real, and you do that you do. Man, I'll never forget that when we were doing the interview before, the title of it was 95 hours, and I just remember you saying we don't do 9 to 5s, we do 95 hours, and that just being so profound to me at the time, because I think it was me figuring out, like, I don't think I was cut out to do 9 to 5 and be happy. Like, can I do it? Sure. But I don't think, a 9 to 5 will make me happy. But putting in those insurmountable hours, toward the craft or with the craft, trying to master it and perfect it, that seems more my speed. So that really stood out. Is that still your mentality or the way you approach all the creative projects that you have?
Yeah. So like with the 95 hour, 9 to 5, 95 hours thing, I hope I mentioned this last time, but I stole that from my homie, Mikhail Sladden. He was my old roommate. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say, my kind of process and the way I think about my work is pretty much the same. I think the bigger thing I kind of learned was, uh, creativity is kind of like a wave and you can't really force it. So I've learned to, kind of go with what's motivating me at the moment and what I think, is the best approach to creating this project. So, for instance, like say I was like writing a film and, you're dead, like say you're like writing a film and you're dead set on the film or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, and not necessarily that you're getting feedback from other people, but you just kind of research and you think about the format and it may not be best for that. Like just go with what works, like what would be best, because you don't want to, a lot of times us as artists, we're also perfectionists and procrastinators, and you can kind of hold yourself back. So I think funny enough, like it's still that type of drive and really grinding all the time and researching and just being in it. But it's funny, I think I also like slow down in terms of like consuming just everything and like what I mean, like all the time and just being available. I think doing other stuff outside of just being zoned in on like your specific craft uh actually helps you with your craft. So going out and like riding a bike or hooping or whatever, doing something else just for a while, it makes you a more well-rounded artist, because you may see inspiration in something that you did from biking that changes your whole entire art practice. So yeah, man, it's pretty much the same, but yeah, just like like slower approach, a more holistic, I would say, like um more focused. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree. I think you can get inspiration from anywhere, really, but it's just a matter of being open to seeing inspiration in that way and not being stuck. I believe you shouldn't be trying to find inspiration. I believe inspiration is something that you should let come to you, and I think that's a big difference for, or will make a big difference for a lot of creatives. Man, so yeah, when we did your last interview, uh, when we actually did the interview, I know it was released in the spring of 2018, but I think we actually did the interview probably either the fall of 2017, if not before or
Yeah.
earlier. So just kind of in between that time and that 3 to possibly even going on 4 year span now, just take us through that journey. Take us through being an undergrad, graduating, how you get to, eventually doing your master's, and then with what you're doing now.
Oh man. Let's see. 2017 was interesting. It was my last year, and funny enough, like I never thought I would go to grad school. Like it was just nothing that was kind of on my radar. and I was kind of tired of school. In 2017, my focus mainly was just make better work, right? I think I used to set like really small goals. So my goal back then was just become like get really good at portraits, right? That was like my big goal, like get really good at portraits. And I was using a medium format camera. It was a Fuji GW 690, so a 6x9 actually, which is it's a really cool format, a little bit bigger than 6x7. But I kind of started to see like the way I thought about images change. And I had made this one image with my homie Brandon, and he was holding the shoes, and that kind of opened up a whole lot of stuff for me, and just thinking about my work in a different way. And yeah, man, so I spent that 2017 just grinding in a dark room, etc. And then I graduated in December. And then, man, once I got out of school, I was broke. I was still in Columbia. My car had broke down. It was like the worst, like post-grad, kind of experience you could have. And, I know a lot of people talk about post-grad depression. I feel like I was headed that way, because I was like, man, like, none of this shit is going right, man. Like, you feel me? And I had kind of seen like people that had graduated, they, sometimes it just takes time. So I'm like, shit, I guess this is my little period. But that period was so fucking hard. So I think, we had to wait like a few days or whatever, a week or so. I think around that time too, Johnny from Pizza Tree he had just hit me back, because earlier, he was saying he didn't have like a spot or whatever. He hit me and he was like, yo, like, we got a spot now, like, come interview. And mind you, I needed this job, man. So Pizza Tree is a place that's like, you don't have to dress up and shit like that. But I needed the job. I was like, bro, I need to make the best first impression. So I wore like a dress shirt. But then I got there, I'm like, man, fuck this. Like, I buttoned the dress shirt and everything. I was like, man, fuck this. But I kept it a buck when I'm like, yo, I need this, man. Like, keep it 100, man. Like, I'm broke as fuck out here. And like, I know I can kill this, right? I just know I can. And man, I got hired. And funny enough, man, not even funny enough, because like they're such a great people and a great company, but Pizza Tree legit is my favorite job of all time. And, best place in Columbia for me in terms of like, it's that type of place, man. And yeah, bro, like that was like a really cool first little sign. And then visual arts and design showcase happened. And it was the ceremony for when they gave all the awards. So in my head, I thought the grand prize was this $2,000 award. And so, we're sitting in there and everybody's going through the awards. I'm like, man, I need this 2K, right? Because I'm broke. I have nothing. I need, like, my plan was like, I pay rent, I do this, it set me up. Cool. I didn't get it. Like, all the awards were called, right? And my homie Nate got it, which he deserved it. He made a crazy killer film, right? It was incredible. Shout out to Nate. Bokeh, right? Sure. So I'm in that bitch like, damn, like, oh man, like, that's it then, Funny enough, it was one more award. It was the Sacred Broadest Award. And I remember one of the directors of the gallery, her name is Hannah. She went up there to give it. I was not expecting, because I thought it was just an exhibition award, right? Like, and that's incredible, right? For artists to like to exhibit their work, but I needed money, right? Because I was, you know what I'm saying? I needed money, right? With everything going on. Funny enough, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, damn, I'm kind of sad. And then Terrance Purdy, I was like, what? Everybody turned around like, go on. Like, I was like, oh shit. Like, because, I was so surprised. I truly was caught off guard. So I get the award and, I'm super happy. And then I find out later that it's 4,000. Not two, double that, right? So it was like the best thing that could happen. And man, it was like a huge sign. And I used some of that money to get my new camera, or at the time, which I had been eyeing for years, was the Pentax 6.7. and, you know, use the rest of the money to kind of build the show. And then the other stuff is, you know, for rent and whatnot, man. And it was incredible. It was just a great, you know, blessing at that time. And yeah, dude, like that was like the beginning of 2018. And the other half of that was I was trying to apply for grad school, and I needed money to do that because, you know, they don't care, man. Applications be like 200, 300, whatever.
Yeah.
And I had got into a few. I had got into RCA in London, Parsons in SVA, New York, and then SAIC in Chicago. And at that time, though, I just knew I had to be in New York. So when I made that visit, you know, I visited Parsons and SVA in March, and I chose SVA. But that was 2018, man. It was like all grinding. I was also working like 4 other jobs. I was lifting, Ubering, photo lab. I did grass shoots. I had like a huge grass shoot season. So yeah, man, that was a time of all grind. And then 2018 in August, moved up here to Brooklyn and into grad school. And then with the grad school grind, man, I just learned so much. I became a way better artist, you know, learned so much about the art world, about research, about history, about people. And then I got the craziest opportunities, man. Like, you know, it was one day over spring break. I had just bought a desk so I can like start focusing more, you know what I'm saying? Get off my bed, doing work and shit. And it was a Friday, and I got an email. It was like possible commission for the New Yorker. And I think this was at the start of spring break, maybe, or was it the end? Whatever, spring break. And I used to always tweet about like, man, I want to get published. I want to shoot for a magazine. Here it is, the New Yorker. At that same time, I also got into a show for Four Freedoms that was going to be at ICP, which is the International Center of Photography in the Bowery, which is big time. It's a museum, so it's a museum show. And then I was also doing another shoot that was supposed to be in a magazine, but it didn't happen, but it was still a great opportunity at that time, you know? And so, man, pretty much all of those, you know, nights, you know, like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the photo lab in the dark room, developing, pulling up to the lab at like 10 p.m. just to scan or do whatever, make contact prints. I love that, you know what I'm saying? That was my life, and all of that enabled me to get to, you know, New York and do that, you know, keep on pushing the level and then get these better opportunities, man. And, you know, now I'm happy to say that, you know, I'm published in hella books, articles, magazines, you know, people like websites, like web magazines, whatever. I'm in collections. I've had a museum show. I'm gonna be in a museum collection. You know, have work in Times Square. It's just crazy. I mean, like, it just kind of happened. And, you know, I'm super grateful for that. And it's funny, I think 2018 was the catalyst for that. Just winning that VAD. It's just, you know, snowball effect into where I am now. COVID happened. It kind of changed the whole dynamic of my last year, because 2020 for me really was like, I thought I was about to be out here like shooting for all these different magazines and everything like that. And none of that happened because nothing could happen, right? So, you know, throughout this whole time, I was on unemployment. Like at the beginning of the year, I was, of the pandemic year, 2020, I was, I had applied for some jobs, but literally nobody was hiring and whatnot. And then I literally just got into a bad slump of just playing Call of Duty because there was nothing else to do. And, you know, I was just here in New York, everything shut down. I was like, man, like, what's going on? And then funny enough, with all the tragic stuff that kind of happened at home, that being such a big situation, it kind of like put me back into work mode. Because like, it was so much. And with circumstances changing and stuff, I was like, I need to get back on my shit. And funny enough, like, I think a week after like all the mess, I started applying for jobs again, and I did probably like 200, 300 like in those few weeks. And I saw the Vice thing come up, and I was like, man, this would be really cool. And you know, next thing you know, boom, like I had the, or like somebody hit me up with an interview like as soon as I got back to New York. And I was like, oh shit. And man, Vice has been crazy ever since then. Like it's been nuts, man. Like the energy is great. And I was initially scared because I was like, man, like how can I still do what I want to do? Like, will this take away from me, you know, ultimately achieving my own goals? But funny enough, I can do all of that and more through Vice, which is so cool. You know, it's just coming in different ways. Like I'm still, you know, DPing, which I DP my first piece during election day. I'm gonna be doing a photo shoot like later this month. I'm gonna be shooting a lot more stuff, but I'm also learning new stuff. I'm learning how to animate, do graphics. I'm learning how to produce, you know what I'm saying? Just like journalistic stuff, which is so funny because, you know, I was in NABJ for 1 year or 2 years. And, you know, I remember people used to be like, oh, like you're a comm major. Like, why are you NABJ? Yada, 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 whatever. Because I really thought I would love strat-comm and advertising. You know, I had a little taste of that with some stuff. I hated it. Hated it. But like storytelling, like advice is just king, right? And the way we do it is super interesting. And man, it's funny how stuff kind of comes full circle because I never would, you know, would have thought I would be in a journalism role. And now technically I'm a fucking journalist. So fuck off. Yeah. But seriously, like technically I'm a journalist, right? So it just happened like that, man. And you know, who knows what's gonna happen in the next 5 to 10 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, I've also worked on a project for Snapchat too. And that's going to be dropping on Snapchat in March. So like I've also, you know, had some stuff in Times Square. Like it's just been a year, man. Or it's really just been a journey. And, you know, looking back, I always knew like it was gonna take me somewhere. I just didn't really know where, for real. Or I didn't know how it was gonna look rather. And yeah, man, I never really imagined this. Like it started off really as a goal to just be like in magazines and, you know, well, really photography for me was I wanted to create my own magazine. That was the initial thought. Like I wanted to become a photographer and create my own magazine because I just thought it'd be cool.
Right.
And now it's transformed into like, you know, I want to have my own studio one day. You know what I'm saying? Like my own company where we just make dope shit. So yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, that is a crazy story for so many reasons for me personally. And you touched on so much. So I'm gonna try to like figure out like what questions I can ask and what I can say because there are so many things you touched on that I feel like are worthy of their own conversation. But the journey is so important because as somebody who at least was around you for like the very beginning of that journey, like, you know, all of 2018 while you were still in Columbia, I feel like it's crazy. I feel like my beginning of like that same time frame, but a year later for 2019, like that's what I was doing. Like it was just grind. And like after I graduated, like, you know, I luckily like I found a job like kind of like right as I was graduating that I was able to start like right at the new year, and it was something on campus. So I had that. And I was looking for a second job like the entire time I had that first job, and like it took me 2 months to get a second job. And then I finally got that. But then within the midst of that, I was Ubering as well. And just like you said, just trying to find ways to make money. And I think the biggest thing that happened though is one, I went through post-grad depression. And I kind of really enjoy being able to acknowledge that I did because the clarity I gained from it has allowed me to get on the path that I'm on now. And I think I needed to kind of be in a place. I think I needed the shock of like not having the structure of undergrad anymore and really needing to figure out what was next, but also having enough of a foundation to not be lost. So it was like that time just made me like, okay, what do you really want to do? Like, where do you feel like, what is your place in everything that's going on that you see that you're passionate about, or that you enjoy, that you want to do. And that's when I really started conceptualizing, because at this point, like, QUALLified hasn't been touched for about a year. So I started conceptualizing, okay, what do I want things to look like? What do I want this to be? And I think the one thing I'm grateful for is that I wasn't in a rush. So that whole time, everything was up here. And although nothing was happening, like physically, uh, everything was happening up here. The vision of it, trying to figure out how I want to look, the structure. And I appreciated that. And I grew to appreciate that more than looking at like, oh, I don't have anything. Oh, I'm not releasing anything. I realized I didn't need to because it wasn't clear yet. And I knew I didn't want to move until it was clear. And that started happening as I got into grad school. I started looking at, okay, like my program is education, school, and counseling, psychology, with an emphasis in positive coaching. So it's the whole aspect of psychology and learning the mind and like behavioral stuff and applying it to sports essentially in a role, but also in a role that like doesn't have to just be a coach, like as any type of teacher or educator, just somebody that is dealing with a community that is misunderstood. That's the way I approach the program, and that's why I was able, I think, to gain as much as I did from it. And within that, it's like, okay, how can I kind of take what I'm learning in terms of conversations needing to be had, needing to understand different perspectives, needing to understand, why people are the way they are. I started realizing like, oh shit. I was like, this is what I need to be doing. And the conversations can be tailored to anybody. I just need to know how to facilitate it. And so once I started looking at it from that perspective, then it was like just mind blown. Everything became clear. It's like, this is how it works. I had to become more comfortable. Like, okay, I'm gonna be on screen now. Like, I'm gonna be interviewing people, but how do I, keep it about them? So I started studying, interviewers. I started watching more podcasts. I started figuring out, how do hosts have enough personality to make people interested in what they're saying, but also how do you take that and be able to also, amplify somebody else's voice in their story. And, that's, the goal now. And, still obviously figuring out like structured things, but it's just, the journey just shows you that there's so much that can happen. And there's always like something that just kind of triggers this domino effect of like things falling into place if you allow it to, if you're patient, if you have faith in just knowing that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing and that you are where you're supposed to be. So, and no, I really couldn't agree more. And I think it's something that is not, I don't think being well-rounded is encouraged enough in this generation. I think this generation, like you said, what are you paying attention to? The people you're paying attention to, if you're paying attention on social media or even to certain celebrities, to your point, they're doing one thing. So in your mind, it's like, okay, what's my one thing that I can do that's gonna make me blow up or make me get here or make me get there? Whereas as much of a market as like that is, being social media famous and having that presence, being an influencer, that is a market. So I don't want to like not acknowledge that. But at the same time, it's not for everybody. Just like with any other industry or market, like it's not for everybody. And just because it's quick and people see how quickly somebody can be popular, how quickly somebody can make that a source of income, they, are looking at it like, okay, well, how do I get on that? And it's like, it ain't for everybody to get on. And it's not going to be the same type of, I don't want to call it easy, but it's not going to be the same process and feeling for everybody. But I don't think people see it that way because people are just focused on, I don't know, just the fame of it, the popularity, because it's more that than wealth, really, that comes from that particular type of celebrity, if you will, or status. It's more of you're popular and people know you. You can monetize that, but I don't think that necessarily translates to wealth solely on its own. Briefly though, like you mentioned that you obviously like still DJ. We haven't talked as much about music. Speak about that for a little bit. How much of a role is music or you being a DJ playing in what you do now? Is it truly just something you do on the side? Is there anything further you want to do with music?
Yeah, so I absolutely would love to DJ somewhere. The thing about New York is so hard to like break that barrier and get in. I would say places like this is like really built on clout. Like, unfortunately, it's a lot of people, and like I'm not like I always try to tell people, I'm not like the best ever at none of these things, right? But I know I'm really good. And, you know, I have enough feet in the game to say like, that's not a good, you know what I mean? Like I know how to DJ, right? I know how to do these things and I've done stuff at places and I got paid for it. Um, you know, it's a lot about cloud out here and who you know. And that's been kind of a tough thing for me because I like to view myself as a very genuine person. I don't like networking for networking's sake. I would rather, you know, come to you and ask for the opportunity and then like get cool that way versus try to get cool with you to get the opportunity. That just doesn't sit well with me. I don't feel like it's genuine. And I'm trying to like figure that out because, you know, a lot of people always tell me like, oh, well, it's part of the game. You got to network. But I'm like, man, I don't know because, you know, I don't want to feel like that. To me, that feels like I'm taking advantage of something. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still like a really moralistic dude when it comes to that. I'm a prime Libra. I don't really believe in trying to, you know, get in just so I can get an opportunity. I don't like that. But yeah, man, like I got into DJing funny enough when I was working at TMZ. Sometimes we didn't have a lot to do. And I remember I was just listening to London Zylo. She had like a little radio station. It's like called Petite Girl Radio. And whatever DJ made that mix was raw as fuck. And I'm like, man, let me make a radio station. That'd be cool. See, I just be thinking shit like that. Like the way I always come to stuff is like, I'm like, man, I think it'd be cool to like make a project. And I'm like really project based, right? And so legit, like my roommate when I was living in LA was a DJ. And I started watching. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And so I stayed with Curtis for a minute, and that's when I started it myself. I just downloaded Virtual DJ, and at that time I didn't know how to scratch it. Nothing. I was just a button DJ, but I still had it teed. It was nuts, and I was like, man, I love this. And for me, I always view DJing as a way, as my outlet, like my personality, because you know, with photography specifically, which I was doing heavily at that time, it can be very lonely because you're in a dark room by yourself, you're shooting, you're editing. A lot of this stuff you do by yourself, right? You edit by yourself, etc. I wasn't shooting a lot of video then. You know, video's more collaborative, so it's different. But, you know, for me, it was like, oh, I'm always lonely doing this. Now I can tee up. It was like a good balance because once I was done DJing, I wanted to be by myself. Like, had the energy, I got it out, kicked it. So then I'd go back and I'd be like, I can relax, right? Chill, can edit, relax. So yeah, man, at this point, it still, you know, still plays a huge role. I really just want an opportunity like that. That's the biggest, I would say that's the next big thing I want to try to do out here is, you know, get some gigs because I know I can smash it out here like easy. I'm not worried about that like that. And plus I've been working on my skills, you know, this whole time. It's not like I've stopped. Once I get my opportunity out here, it's a wrap. That's all I know. So yeah, man, that's it.
What's the biggest difference between you now and you the last time you were featured on QUALLified?
Oh man, I think immediately, if people have watched it, I curse a lot less. I try to at least. Not when I'm playing Call of Duty though. I think, man, I'm not like scared anymore about like the fear of like losing the love for it. Because I was still kind of early on in, you know, my journey. And I'm like, I don't want to lose this feeling. What I've learned, MF Doom actually said this, RIP, MF Doom. Like creativity, like artistry, whatever, it's like a wave, right? You have to just catch it. So I like with basketball, right? When I was falling out of love with it, I was panicking. I was like, bro, what the fuck? Like, because it was just me, right? It was what I did, and I didn't see anything in the future. And so I used to get really scared when I would have like a creative block or whatever, right? When it comes to like photography or whatnot. But the thing is, and kind of like how you talked about QUALLified, you stop. It's completely fine. It's like you can't force anything. You just can't do it. It's just not gonna be good, or you're not gonna be satisfied with it. The best thing to do if you're blocked or whatever, just do something else. You literally have to leave it alone because like it's energy, right?
Yeah.
The wave. So like when I was making a lot of work, especially when I made the crucifixion picture, shit was just coming to me. It was just coming. It was just coming. I just knew every time I was about to shoot, I was like, I was just making crazy work. I don't know. Like sometimes you get into that zone where you're just making shit that's crazy. And then in grad school, it was a lot of times where I was just like, damn, like, but you have to have work for critique like every week, right? Every 2 weeks or whatever. But humans just don't operate like that, you know what I'm saying? Unless you're just like a machine, which I'm not. So yeah, man, I think I would say like I've grown a lot in that way of like understanding like when it's time for me to just either stop, a project for a while or like move on to something new or just do something different, man. And I think the pandemic has had a lot to do with that because I haven't really shot for like almost a whole year at this point, and shit, it sucks, And early on, I was like, man, this shit really sucks. But it really grew a desire for me like to start this new project and this new stuff I want to work on, which is great. So I know when it's time, I'm just gonna go crazy, when it comes to that. But yeah, I would say that's the thing. What else? Trying to see, man. I don't know. I just more mature in my work, my life, more expansive in my goals. So like my big goal of 2021, I'm going to. So I have an idea for a TV show. It started off as a film, but through conversations, it's going to be better as a TV show. And kind of what I want to do with that, I want to create a graphic novel first, and then pitch it as a TV show. So my big goal for this year is to create a treatment for that, and then write a few episodes, and hopefully in the next few years, like be in a really good spot to pitch it to like HBO or something. Nah, it'd be crazy, HBO or some shit, right? Yeah. That's like the number one goal, like to get a show on HBO. But yeah, man, that's like my new goal, like my big creative thing. And back then, I would have been scared to say that because in my head, it's so weird. I would have been like, am I falling out of love with photography? And it's like, no, like you're still an artist. You're just doing it. You're just doing different stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this is just a progression of the thing. Because I'm always going to want to take pictures. It just is what it is. Sometimes I'm going to really want to. And then sometimes I just want to do something else. And I think what I understand now is that's fine. Like you have to go with the flow. Like if you force it, the shit is just going to be bad. Like it just is. And even when you do look at, artists who are at the top of their game, Kendrick Lamar, I'm sure he wants to put out music all the time. But I think he came to an understanding of, for my shit to be really good and for me to feel inspired, I have to stop.
Yeah.
And that just is what it is. It's like everyone's going too fast. I mean, photographers do this too. If we all just slow down, the work would be better. And obviously that is so counter to where our culture sits right now with social media and just how stuff moves. But, I've learned, yeah, man, like one good work is always going to rise to the top no matter what. It just is. It's just how it goes. Like no matter how much stuff is out there, good will always go up. Like it always finds its way.
Yeah.
Rather. And yeah, man, I think, slow down. Like it's okay not to be working, like not to be making or not to be shooting and working all the time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just need to stop because you're just thinking too much and all of this other shit. And then you will legit see one thing and then that sparks a whole new project. If you relax though, you're not gonna see it if you don't relax.
But man, final question. The question that always has to be asked, the point of, all these interviews. You told us your incredible journey, over the last 3 years. And you talked about how essentially you kind of, found this new passion and love for grinding. And then also learning the lessons of like, being patient, having faith in what you want to do and, being open and ready for opportunities. With what you're doing now, working at Vice, being the creative that you are, having the projects that you have under your belt, what would you say makes you, as a creative in any capacity, filmmaker, photographer, cinematographer, what makes you qualified?
Yeah, man. So, um, I think it's ultimately the grinding aspect, man. Kind of like what I alluded to at the beginning, the first question. Like, for me, I feel like my purpose in life and the point of life is to create. Um, how do we all get here? Creation, procreation, right? Um, what moves the world forward? Creation. Like, nothing that we have today would be here without people attempting to do something different and be innovative and like just bring something new to the world, right? So like when you break it all down, entertainment, all of that, like if we didn't have people out here, aspiring to be artists or just people that change shit, what would really happen? What would the houses look in that we or what would the houses that we live in look like? Like, would it be this crazy architecture like we have now? We have like these, well, America doesn't because capitalism and gas, but like, look at Japan and the train system there, the bullet trains, like, a way for people to transport a mass number of people to different cities for damn near free, right? And it's essentially a common good. Um, will we have film? You know what I'm saying? Like, will we have people that score films? Um, Play? Will we have Hamilton? Like, just I think like for me, my ultimate goal in life is like Aaron Yeager to keep on moving forward, but not like really to create just dope shit, man. Because I feel like that's all you like. That's all we have, right? Shit that's important. Uh, yeah, man. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm qualified because, man, I want to make that shit happen, and I'm gonna make it happen, man. And that's really something that's really important for me. I would feel, not necessarily like I wasted my life, but I would feel like, you know, I wasn't taking advantage of the opportunities that I have if I wasn't trying to create, the best stuff that I could create.
Mm.
And I'm really grateful to be in a position where, here at 26, like I feel like I have a really good launch pad. I have so many connects, throughout multiple different industries like art, the art world, to the media world, to the ad world, music, everybody, I'm saying, my frat, etc. That I can really, and then plus like just being African American, I have a really unique spot in culture because African Americans, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, maybe are the youngest culture in currently, maybe in that way. Like when you look at really different races, maybe the youngest, other than other countries that have become recently independent. And in that way, African Americans are legit constantly creating culture on a daily basis, which is a super unique thing, right? So I think all of these things make me, prime and give me, motivation to really like create some dope shit. Because there's so much in our future, right? And kind of the show I want to or that I'm writing right now really focuses on that, like the future of Black people, but from a sci-fi perspective, revisionist history, like reimagining, like you know a world where shit is just completely different. Like, what would our world look like? And I think that imagination is key for like all of us just doing dope shit for the rest of our life, man. And yeah, man, I'm qualified because I'm that nigga. Nah, I'm just playing, but that's why I'm qualified, man. I'm just every day I want to get up and make it happen, basically. So yeah.
And man, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this follow up with me, man. I appreciate it. I know you're very busy, got a lot going on, but like I said, just definitely want to have this follow up. Have people that did watch know where you are now. Have people that maybe haven't watched yet go watch, and then watch this and just see the transformation, and just how much can change within. I mean, a lot can change within 6 months, but when you really look at 3 years, so much can happen, so much can change and evolve within a person. So I love giving y'all the opportunity to show people that and show people that it wasn't like y'all was doing that shit now and then y'all let it go, or y'all just went nowhere. Like y'all kept going, y'all kept ascending. And that's the whole point, you know, of what Qualified is, to highlight people, you know, that are doing that are going to do that. So thank you again, man. We were gonna
appreciate you, bro.
Of course, man. You know, we're gonna have his socials. Make sure you follow everything that he's doing. You know, he said he's not a huge social person, but he does post his work a lot, and we'll definitely make sure that, you know, any work he has going on and that, you know, he allows us to you know, kind of share with you all, promote, you know, we will. And yeah, anything else you want to not show people, but, you know, tell people, have them follow, have them tap into, you know, what have you?
Man, whatever socials you post is fine. Wear y'all mask. Stop playing, man, so we can get back out here. And yeah, man, y'all just be safe out there, man. Appreciate you. Hope you still got that cool finger roll, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't lose that, man. You gotta show your kids that in the future.
I'm trying not to lose it. You know, the panty doesn't stop me from hooping. You know,
I don't remember the last time I shot a basketball, bro, because it is like, it's mad. It's at least been a year. High school me would have been depressed. Like,
no, facts.
Right, man. Oh my God, I'm never going to the league.
Facts, man. But yeah, no, definitely much love, bro. Always. Thank you again. And shoot, until the next Qualified interview, y'all. Shoot, I'm out.